It's been almost over 2 months since the Ottawa shooting at Parliament Hill on October 22, 2014. Due to recent events with the recent threat of ISIS and extremists, Arab and Muslim Canadians want to send a new message to the country. According to a recent 2001 Statistics Canada census, Muslims living in Canada are a fairly new community, according to scholar Saeed Ramanat. The total number of people who identify themselves as Muslim, including their children, make up only 2% of the entire population in Canada. However, more statistics prove Islamic cultural backgrounds are one of the fastest growing religions in the country, as well as the Muslim population. So what does that say about our future generation of Muslim Canadians, who only make up 23% of that population? How do they deal with prejudice? How do they deal with the recent trend of Islamophobia and the recent critiques on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher? How do we react to the recent shooting at Parliament Hill from a radicalized extremist? Our story begins with 3 young Arab men, Mahir, Anis, and Nader, trying to change the status quo with the stereotypical norms perceived by using the social media to spread awareness and social change of Arabic Canadian identities. These 3 university students created a YouTube channel called The Weekly Show, which grabbed the eyes of local news outlets like CBC News, The Ottawa Citizen, as well as an overnight success when they were featured on the American website BuzzFeed. We explored the trio through the scope of Foucault's post-structuralism and subjectivity theories, as well as diaspora to explain the phenomena of identity through a young adult's Arab Canadian eye wanting to break the mold. To those who may think philosophy is a deteriorating value, the Weekly Show programs proves it is still, if not more evident in today's world. Foucault's modern concept of subjectification is best described by scholar Wendell L. M. Luna as she said, quote, "Modernity cannot propose a morality, not because it is pure speculation, but it is a mode of action," end quote. This is a train of thought that is a reflection and an act of consciousness. Thus, people's actions automatically liberate and enslave. It can either break, unite, dissociate, or repel, for example. Every thought is a mode of action. The post-structural element of this trio is shown through a contingency. They create new dialogue for social formations, practices, and identities. Thus, as research suggests from scholar David Horwath, it is important because, quote, "it opens up a space of choice and the freedom for the subject, but it also discloses a different way of elucidating the exercise of power, the character of social and ideological domination, and the operation of hegemonic practices," end quote. The rise in late-night political satirical shows, such as The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, and the Ottawa's The Weekly Show, recognizes that satire is creating more attention than just regular news programs.
So the other thing we want to talk about, of course, is that
these popular late-night political talk shows made the news headlines when actor Ben Affleck addressed Bill Maher's faux liberalism ideas, bigotry, and his idea of radicalization and Islamophobia. These popular late-night political talk shows made the news headlines when actor Ben Affleck addressed host Bill Maher's faux idea of liberalism, bigotry, and the idea of radicalization through Islamophobia.
The crucial point of confusion is that we have been sold this meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
Right.
And that is it's intellectually ridiculous. Even it gets
so hold on, are
racism.
you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're the interpreter of that, so you can say, well, this is...
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this concept?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so nuts.
It's like saying those stateless, shifty Jew.
You're not listening to
not.
what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, like you know, we are endowed by our forefathers with an inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the mother lode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have
That's
ideas
just a fact.
like blasphemy.
It is
it's an ugly
apostasy.
thing.
It is one basic liberal principle
unpack
is tolerance.
Let me unpack it.
But not for intolerance.
No, of course not. But the picture you're painting is, to some extent, true, but is hugely incomplete. It is certainly true that plenty of fanatics and jihadis are Muslim, but the people who are standing up to them, Malala, incredible Muhammad Ali Dadak in Iran, in prison for 9 years for speaking up for Christians. A friend that I had in Pakistan who was shot this year, Rashid Rahman, for defending people accused of apostasy.
Nick, or how about the more than 1 billion people who aren't fanatical, who don't punch women, who just want to go to the store,
wait a second. Wait a second.
Who don't do any of the things they're saying all Muslims stereotyping.
Using a similar message as the satirical shows are taking inspiration from, The Weekly Show pokes fun of ISIS's extremist messages of recruitment towards young people on YouTube. Angered by the constant ISIS propaganda from extremists, they are feeding the youth, so The Weekly Show tries to do their own thing by sending the message back. According to Foucault, governing oneself eventually leads to others to govern others. This is exactly what the trio in The Weekly Show tries to do in A Life of Morality. Scholar Luna believes through the eyes of Foucault, quote, if one chooses to live such an existence, one wills to live a beautiful life. Living a beautiful life is living well. Thus, this opens a space for freedom and their own exercise of power through social and ideological domination with hegemonic practices. So for The Weekly Show trio, choosing to live in an aesthetic existence is a personal and ethical choice. Thus, it is up to the human being to live by the ethical subject, and he who constitutes their existence can do so in the best and most beautiful way they possibly can. The Weekly Show trio went down to Ottawa to Parliament Hill to spread a message of peace. The trio held anti-Islamic signs and recorded innocent bystanders' reactions to their hateful words. As expected, Canadians stood ground and proved they are against overly racist remarks, even during a time of Islamic extremists doing violent acts and getting so much media coverage. The Weekly Show said, quote, we wanted to see how people would respond and discriminate against Islam. We did this to see if people would stand together against hate, and what we got was truly inspirational.
Because of veterans.
Muslims?
Someday maybe you'll grow a brain and use it right instead of like racist bigots.
Put that away. Do not do that near this war memorial. This war memorial deserves more respect than that.
Fairness against Muslims in this country.
And I think that's ridiculous because there's nothing wrong with Islam.
My grandson, my granddaughter, they are Muslims. And my son-in-law married my daughter who's a Christian, and it's not violence, okay?
I think this is really crazy because not all Muslims are bad.
There's but don't you think that they're promoting the violence and they're
some are interpreting it the way that they want to interpret it, just like Christians can interpret a part of the Bible and say an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Does that make them right? No, we are a religion of forgiveness and love.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're doing this downtown right now, Remembrance Day?
Serious. Don't you think they're
here?
What do you think?
You're going to be racist on Remembrance Day standing outside of Parliament Hill right now?
Nothing wrong with Islam. I'm not Islamic. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great religion. There is a group within that is not using the religion correctly. They claim to be using it, but they're exploiting it for their evil purposes.
That's all of them.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's like the Christians. We do the same thing. When we went to World War II, we brought priests and we prayed before going to slaughter, and we kept saying we're doing it for religious reasons. So they're the same. There's a group in every religion that is a bit whacked out.
Big difference. You can have good people and bad people in every faith. This is absolutely nuts. I hope that you get informed. This is wrong. So this is Canada. We embrace all cultures and all religions.
I think that we're a diverse country and that we can accommodate that, and we shouldn't attribute that to Muslims any more than we attribute other kinds of shootings to the Christians. And that's my feeling.
The Weekly Show also offers comical satire to recent news stories through their segment called Behind the Desk. Again, it is similar to The Daily Show and The Weekly Show with John Oliver. According to scholar Besley, through Foucault's eyes, these are three types of struggles and forms of domination: ethical, social, and religious, rebuttaling forms of exploitation which separates individuals from what they can produce, or a way of against oneself which, quote, ties the individual to himself and submits him to others in this way, end quote. Foucault thinks these struggles exist on their own and separately. However, The Weekly Show's antics combat all of these struggles.
Usually, we face many difficulties in creating the products that match the need of everybody in the world. So we created the new terrorist-friendly device that meets their needs, the new ISIS 9 Air, a product that includes features such as the logbook to write down the number of people you kill and the number of each one of them with the corresponding number of Hasanat. Another key feature you will have with the new ISIS 9 Air is the pre-downloaded ISIS manual, containing a wild plethora of weapons, locations of possible infidels, and a guide to sinful haram deeds and the suitable method of punishment. The top feature of this product lies beneath its physical appearance in the new software iOS 5. Now you can enable the Kafir locator from the settings through your Wi-Fi or network options, and you will be able to locate everybody around you that deserves a beheading.
The Weekly Show are changing the status quo of Western colonial North American media by making a new dialogue for themselves and others to see. There's now a new way of pastoral power, says Foucault. Thus, this promotes new ways of subjectivity that inspaces the kind of individualization that has been imposed on us, says scholar Besley. Foucault focuses on how power is exercised. Instead, the Ottawa trio take power in their hands with diaspora, creating a new conversation for school, family, and Canadian justice system. As a result, it shows not only Canadians are concerned with cultural identities, but Americans as well. The Weekly Show has not uploaded any other reaction videos since their sudden popularity in the media. According to Besley, there is not one way one person can act and one way to act accordingly to a person's ethical subjectivity. There are many ways of constituting ethical subjectivity as there are individual persons. This is what The Weekly Show does so well. They are here to spread a message for Arab Canadians in a new form of medium to spread their message faster, sooner, and to influence a new generation. She says, quote, "The ethics of existence is a unique and to every individual who constitutes to live in a beautiful existence." I'm Jessica Aritu. Thank you for watching, and good night.